Okay, so I think we are live. So we'll just give it a few minutes for everyone to get logged in, get the tech sorted. Notice that the go live light or button is flashing on Facebook and YouTube, which is where we're streaming currently today. So just give me a moment to sort things out. As you join, folks, obviously dive into the comment section. Any questions, we can cover them from a comment perspective. So this week we're going to do a recap, really. The plan is that we did our worldwide Chen healing and clearing meditation yesterday, which was October the 5th, Sunday night, effectively, and today is Monday, so it's Monday the 6th of October. So the plan is that we're going to get Chen to talk to us about what basically happened. Lots of people messaged us. I think we had well over 100 people actually on that live call, which was really good. And Chen was very pleased with that too. And lots of people were asking about the way that they felt. Many people, in fact, quite a lot of people, I think, were kind of reduced to tears at different points during that meditation. So the first part of it was a kind of healing and clearing meditation for the people, each person doing the meditation. And that seemed to unlock a lot of trauma, quite a lot of emotion, really, for lots of people. And they obviously just kind of let that release. So lots of tears, lots of crying. And then in the second part, we were actually basically doing a combined connected meditation whereby the Chen and his team were connecting everybody effectively together, almost like kind of acupuncture pins on a planet, is the way that he sort of shows it to me. And again, kind of channeling energy into Mother Earth effectively to kind of raise the vibration, clear some of the negativity. I think there was quite a few people there too that talked about tears of joy, which was unexpected, I guess, from my perspective, really. So I think we've seen a lot of people crying over the last day and a half in a good way. So I think, and we're hoping that people woke up this morning. Lots of people messaged us, dropped emails in, also on social media to say that they woke up, they feel clear, they feel happy, they feel better. So the clearing aspect of that healing meditation seems to have been very successful, which of course is good. So we're really pleased to hear that from that perspective. Okay, so I'm just going to wait for people to get logged in. So just to give anyone a review, so what we were basically doing, we were basically working on a kind of worldwide healing and clearing meditation, and that was working for people personally. And what we plan to do, again, lots of people have asked us, is that meditation or that event, I guess, really going to appear on social media or YouTube? So the plan is that we've got the recording. We're going to basically edit the recording, which I think Lloyd's going to do for us. And then basically we'll pop that up onto the new Andy Porter Psychic Surgeon Facebook page. So I'm sure some of you are probably aware that we've got a new page. I had a profile before, and we realized that the profile was for personal people, and the Facebook page is supposed to be for business. And of course, we're a business, so we've created a new page called Andy Porter Psychic Surgeon, and we're just sort of migrating people over now, really, from the Andrew Surgeon profile to the Andy Porter Psychic Surgeon page. So if you haven't yet found that, hop over on Facebook, type in Andy Porter Psychic Surgeon. The page should pop up. If you can sort of follow us, that'll be great as we start to, because what we're going to do is drop most of our new content will be going on to the new page, not the old profile. So if you do follow us and like what we do, then it's a good idea to sort of move your focus of awareness over, really. Just going to say hi to Vanessa, who's joined, and Mimi as well. Good to see you. Jane's downstairs, checking that I'm actually upstairs working, and we'll probably do a sound check to make sure the sound is good. Hopefully you can hear me fine. I can hear myself fine, but you never know. It's quite easy to sit in your room talking for hours on end and then realize that nobody can hear you, or that the sound isn't particularly good. So hopefully that'll be good. The motivational mindset has just popped up on YouTube to say the meditation was very powerful. Will it be posted on YouTube as well? Thanks, Naval. That's the plan, I think, Naval. We're basically going to edit the content, and then we'll drop it onto Facebook and YouTube so that other people can consume it. Because we are kind of aware lots of people are in different sort of geographical locations, and some people couldn't make it on Sunday night, or there wouldn't have been Sunday night in different places in the world. So we are going to make that meditation available for people to do. And of course, there are two meditations there. There's the personal healing and cleansing one at the start. And then the second one, of course, is the worldwide clearing part that seemed to go very well, really. Jen seemed quite thrilled afterwards, which was nice. So I was going to say hi to Diana. Good to see you again. Seen your name twice in 2 days. So thank you for joining. Also to Kat and Jennifer Taylor, which is good. So Jennifer's got a really cool show. If you guys follow her, 108 Healing Senses. So hop over to her YouTube channel and her Facebook, because she's got some really interesting podcasts, one of which actually was mine as well. So that was good. I enjoyed the podcast with her. But she's also talked to Jono. There's been lots of other people that I see popping up on social media. And I know Jennifer's also very busy on TikTok. So shout out to the TikTokers. Something we're trying to do, Jennifer, now is trying to kind of engage with a TikTok audience, because we're kind of aware that we don't really have a TikTok presence. We haven't had. And there are people asking us to go on there and basically accommodate that particular, if you like, channel too, really. But as I'm sure most of you guys are aware that run your own business, these days there's so many social platforms. Trying to be on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and all of the other things is actually quite time consuming by the time you're taking your content and then re-editing it, really, for different types of platforms, and obviously changing the timeline for clips, that sort of thing. So we are looking to drop a lot more of our content onto TikTok, and we're busy editing clips and that kind of thing. So hopefully you guys will start to see more of us on there too. And we do realize that the audience is actually very different, which of course is quite interesting. So Facebook seems to be generally this kind of older audience, I guess. I guess it's been around longer, so more people have had time to find themselves on Facebook. Instagram kind of is, I'm not really sure what goes on with Instagram, to be perfectly honest. It sort of missed me. But I kind of get TikTok, although TikTok seems a bit like the Wild West, because there just seems to be a whole raft of different clips that seem to go out with no kind of rhyme or reason. And even when you try and kind of train the algorithm by typing in the things you want to search for, you still seem to get some very random things on there. So for me, TikTok is a bit of a challenge, but we're going to get there. It's all part of the way that we work. And obviously, we're very keen to promote the work that we do. Chen's very keen to push the work out to help people primarily, but also to educate people. And that's the way that we kind of see ourselves as you know, we're in the healing kind of space, because we're working with people, clearing their field, clearing their energy. But on the same time, we're looking to educate people to understand that, you know, this spiritual playing field does actually have a huge integration with our lives, and people that don't have protection primarily and other things also, you know, end up suffering with all sorts of chaos in their life. It doesn't need to be that way if we can just employ a few spiritual protective techniques and just understand that the spiritual world does actually connect with us from a physical perspective, and we are kind of living with a foot in both camps. And when we start to understand that, we can change our lives in a really positive way. So that is the kind of other thing from our perspective that is our remit, really, that we do need to educate people to the spiritual, or provide spiritual awareness would be the probably better way to explain it. So hi to Camille, good to hear you. See you here as well, or see you joined on here. Obviously can't see you per se, but you're here. And obviously for all of the people listening. So just to recap now, because obviously we've got more people on this live. So basically we did a worldwide meditation and planet clearing with Chen yesterday, and we witnessed some kind of extraordinary power of collective intention, I think is the right way to say things. So people were joining from across the globe, from Europe, Africa, Americas, Asia. There was a whole kind of raft of different countries and different geographical locations, which is exactly what Chen wanted to happen. And the way that Chen explains that to me is almost like every person in their country, in their city, in their town is almost like a kind of acupuncture pin, really. So you're kind of a beacon of light in your space. And generally most people that do this work are kind of light workers, but living in the darkest, probably the most negative places. So we all kind of get distributed around the world, and we're all kind of popped into various geographical locations because we are light workers, and we are those kind of acupuncture pins basically to broadcast light and to hold the vibration, hold the frequency. So it's kind of good to think sometimes when we look at where we live, or if you look at the places that you live, if you're not living in the most wonderful locations, just think that you've probably been put in a more negative location because of the work that you're doing just by walking around. So you're changing the vibration, your frequency is changing the vibration. So it's a really important thing to bear in mind, really. So I think Chen also reminded us that when individuals like ourselves come together in meditation, our vibrations don't just add up, they multiply extensively, really. And this kind of combined energy resonance is propagated throughout the Earth's and the world's subtle fields, energetic fields, uplifting really not only the participants of the meditation, but also the conscious awareness of the planet and the vibration itself. And that, I think, is the bit that we don't see. Because we can't see vibration, we don't really understand that part. And I guess that's where spirit can kind of explain it to us in a different way, that we're doing these things and we're having this kind of really quite intense impact on the planet that we all live, even though we can't see it from a physical perspective. I think the feedback, really, from my perspective, lots of people talked about shared experiences of sort of feeling lighter, buzzing with energy, feeling brighter. Lots of people shed tears, as we talked about, as the teams kind of worked through their fields to clear their energy fields, cleared negativity, trauma, pain, all those sorts of things from people's energetics. Some people saw visions of flaming swords, voids filled with light, and basically Gaia's kind of grid expanding with sort of luminous strength and energy. So it was really inspirational hour and a half, I guess. So Chen's kind of central message, really, from my perspective, was that every single meditation that we do makes a difference because we're changing the vibration. Just one of us doing a cleansing and clearing meditation can change the vibration. And if we think about that from an intention perspective, when we're talking about planet Earth, then we're changing the planet's frequency. So it's a really important thing to consider, even though it's something so simple that takes a very small amount of time. So together, really, as a group, we can accelerate the planetary healing, which we know we need to do. We know that's what we're here for. We're here to kind of work. And I think that gets said by Chen all of the time, generally. And as we raise the vibration as a group, of course, the planet rises with us. And that's what the key message is, that when we bring people together in groups, we get the magnification of the energy. So 3 or 4 people around the world are meditating at the same time. That's kind of great. But if those 3 or 4 people are meditating together as a group at the same time, then there is a magnification of the energy, a magnification of the frequency. So trying to do group work is really important. And it's something that we would kind of like you guys to consider listening to this, really. If you can bring groups of people together, maybe in the areas that you live in, people like Jennifer have a following. So if you've got a following, you've got followers, you're effectively an influencer in one way or another. If you can run some sort of group meditation and just bring people together, it doesn't have to be thousands of people. You know, we never know how many people are going to turn up to our meditations. We just make them available. And then we kind of trust that spirit will find the right people to engage in the process. And lots of people do them in catch-up. So, of course, you still get the magnification of energy in the catch-up experience, because we know that kind of time isn't really applicable from a spiritual perspective. So I suppose these sorts of events really like a living example of unity, really, intention, and how spiritual practices ripple out beyond just the individual person. And Chen assures us really that this is just the beginning. So he's shown me pictures, you know, when I ask him where we're going, what the future looks like, you know, what path we're on, he shows me pictures of thousands of people connecting over Zoom. And it was one of the questions that we discussed. I think it was on Saturday. I was talking to him and he said, how many people can we get on a Zoom call? I said, I'm not exactly sure. It depends how much we pay, probably, because everything with IT and tech is the same, isn't it? You know, you have a bundle or a package, and that package provides you with a certain number of participants. So if you want more people, then you just basically pay more money. So I don't know if that's infinite, but I know that the package that we currently had, I looked at, and I think it provided 500 concurrent people. So we could have up to 500 people basically on a kind of Zoom call. So a group meditation. After 500, I guess it's a package change to move upwards. I don't know what the top limits are. I need to find out probably. But Chen's definitely got his heart set on increasing these meditations in terms of the numbers of people, because it's like, I think he said it's like 1 to 4. So if we've got 100 people in the physical at the same time, then that's like 400 people energetically doing that work. So you can imagine the energy from 400 people connected together, working kind of, given to spirit to work in a positive way and change things is actually quite substantial. So if we can get to 1,000 people, that would be like 4,000 people together connected all over the world. So I think it's really important that we sort of consider these things, really, which is, again, it seems simple when we think about it, but the effect it has is, actually playing an effect into all of our lives. So I'm just going to say hi to Camille, Miriam, and Fafi, I think. Oh, so Miriam was there. I thought I saw a message from you, Miriam, to say that you'd missed the actual sign-up or registration part of it. But I did think I might have mentioned or saw that I think Catherine was going to send you a link, or did send you a link. So hopefully you did get in, which it sounds like you did, which is cool. We try and make sure as many people can join these things as we can. The last time we did one, it was all a bit kind of difficult come the end, because we've been advertising it for quite a long time. Of course, the links have been out for quite a long time. And then sort of 10 minutes before we were due to start, suddenly lots of people were trying to register. And of course, Jane then needed to send them the Zoom links. So she got a little bit flustered that there was all this incoming email traffic of people trying to get on and asking for links. And then she was still trying to send people links kind of 10 minutes after we'd started. So this time we thought we're going to basically have a kind of cut-off time of sort of an hour before we start. So it gives us time to make sure that everybody that has registered has time to get those Zoom links, has time to get the emails, people that are emailing in to say that the Zoom link hasn't appeared, generally in the spam, I think, for most people. Or, of course, some people put the wrong email addresses in. We had quite a few of those yesterday, where people type their email address in and put .com, C-O-N, not com, so it's a typo. But, of course, we cut and paste the whole field of email addresses on our end into an email to send Zoom links out. And then, of course, Gmail doesn't send to the wrong email, incorrect email addresses. So we have a whole load of bounces that we need to kind of work through and work out why they've bounced, which is normally just down to simple like typos, really, in the email. Anyway, okay, I think I've kind of covered it from my perspective, so I don't really know too much about it because I let Chen in. He does the work, as we all know. So let's get him in today to basically talk about what actually happened, because this, I think, is the important part of the conversation, really. So we would all like to know, when these group meditations happen, what's really happening from a spiritual perspective. What do they see in spirit that we also don't see because we're physical? We know that people are experiencing different feelings and things, but effectively it's the spiritual aspect that we're engaged in, and that's the part that we're interested to know what happened. So I'm just going to pass over to Chen, get him in to talk about yesterday. We can see what he has to say, and we can kind of go from there effectively, which would be good. So just bear with me a second. Okay, just quit that. Okay, I'll see you guys in a moment. Good day to you all. My name is Chen, Andrew's principal guide and surgeon. So firstly, I would like to welcome everyone to this podcast, to this medium of operation. Obviously, yesterday was an extremely successful, and also, of course, from our perspective, a very important meditation, group healing and clearing. So what we have to remember when we talk about group work, as young Andrew has explained so well earlier, is that everything is not just the number of parts, it's the sum of the parts together. So as we put more people's energy together, so we amplify everything. And of course, this is the whole point of these group meditations. People can meditate on their own, and of course we could release a meditation that you all could do in your own time from the website or from social media. But trying to get people's energy together at the same time is instrumentally different, really, from our perspective. So what did we see? What we saw basically was a group of people connecting all around the world. And I think most of the geographical locations were covered. So if we look at the major continents, most major continents were covered. So we have one person generally from each continent. And again, young Andrew explains this very well. Think of an acupuncture point on a person. We know that energy flows through the human body, and acupuncturists talk about meridians. Meridians are energetic centers, and energy flows along the nervous system. So using acupuncture pins in certain places can clear energy, can unblock energy, can help to increase the flow of energy, the chi, as they say, around the body. The same, of course, on Mother Earth. Mother Earth is a living organism and therefore has an energetic flow. And we know that we have ley lines. People talk about ley lines. What would a ley line be? So it's an energetic flow of energy. So this, again, if you're spiritual and you've been doing your work and studying, you will know that ley lines transmit energy. Energy flows around the planet. And of course, there are certain prominent ley lines that we know, things like the Mary Magdalene line. We know that flows through various points and places on the map that we can talk about, and we can basically see maps of ley lines if we bring them up on our internet and such like. So we know that we have this planet with these energetic centers, and of course the centers of the most energy should be flowing cleanly and clearly. But like everything on planet Earth, there's a positive aspect and a negative aspect. And sometimes, of course, the negative aspect corrupts the energy or blocks the energy completely from flowing around the planet. And of course, this causes stagnation and it causes problems, the same as it would do in a human body. If energy stops flowing around your physicality, then of course you will manifest problems, and generally disease will manifest in blocked locations. So what we wanted to do yesterday, the first part of that meditation, of course, is to protect the people doing the meditation. So we're opening people up energetically, very slowly, because not everyone has been meditating for a long time. For some people, it was maybe their first time in a proper meditation. So everyone was opened up slowly, grounded, so their spiritual energy was connected into Mother Earth, giving that grounding connection. And then, of course, the chakra center is the energetics for the human being. So we open the chakras and allow that energy to flow. And when we did that, we then call in and we connect to our spiritual guidance. So everyone has spirit guides that exist, chosen by you before you come into this life and incarnate. So these are guides chosen by you for you. They come in and they're with you every second of your day. They're there to guide and to help. So they came in very close in this meditation. And of course, they can see everything about your life. They know everything about your life, all of the good things that you've done, all of the laughter that you've had. They also seen the pain and the trauma. So of course, that pain and trauma is a negative frequency that's basically baked into your etheric field. So if you think of an etheric bubble, and we've got lots of energies and vibrations inside that bubble, we identify the negative ones that have come from some sort of trauma or negativity throughout your life from childhood. And of course, we look to clear those frequencies from your field. Now, not everyone's going to be cleared in 5 minutes, of course, but the idea is that the guide team that we work with instructs your guides to remove certain vibratory frequencies, the most negative. So the most negative frequencies are cleared from everyone's field. And this, of course, is happening collectively. So we have a guide team ourselves, my team, Chen, we have our own team, and they would have been working with your personal spirit guides to teach, to offer help, to explain to them what needs to be cleared from your field. And this is why so many people find themselves in tears, because a lot of the old emotions and traumas have been locked away. For some people during that meditation, they probably don't even remember the things or the experiences that have happened to them, probably in earlier years, maybe earlier childhood, that had such a negative effect emotionally. And those emotions have been wrapped up and they've been packaged and they've been locked away inside that energetic bubble. And what happened yesterday was the guides came in to find that package. Let's look through the field. Let's find the most negative experiences, the most negative vibrations. and let's surface them, not to the point that that person, the person meditating, needs to remember what happened to you, because you don't need to relive those experiences. But what the guide did was take the negative frequency, the trauma and the pain, and transmute it and clear it out of your field. And when that happens, changes your emotional state. And this is why so many people talked about being reduced to tears or crying, allowing that release, because as we take that emotion out of the field, so the emotional center changes, so the chakras change, everything changes. So people feel lighter, they instantly generally feel happier in themselves. But of course, there is an emotional change, and that can be related to release, which generally makes you feel like crying. So many people, if you look at the chat history, talked about being reduced to tears, but in a good way, not tears in a bad way, but a release, let go of those negative things that you don't need to carry around. Because of course, when you're locking negative emotions and negative frequency into your etheric field, you're holding your vibration down. So even the most spiritual of people cannot ascend their vibratory frequency if they have lots of negativity baked into their field. Some people call this shadow work. You're working on the shadow, the negative side, the negative things, but releasing a lot of that pain and trauma allows your frequency to rise. And of course, as your frequency rises, so your emotional state changes. So people will have woken up today feeling lighter, brighter, happier, just from a very, very quick, short meditation, because your guides opened up your field and removed and cleared a lot of this negativity. And this, of course, is simple work. This is what needs to be taught in schools. This is what needs to be taught to your children. There's no point hanging on to negative trauma and pain. It can be cleared and released, and it can be done in a very quick way, and it can be done in a very sensitive way, such that the person doesn't remember the events that caused the pain. And this, I think, is the difference in the way that we worked yesterday from some of these psychological methods that the medical profession tend to use and therapists tend to use. Many therapists sit with a client and they talk about the situations, the events and the experiences, and they bring them to the surface for that person to review. But of course, when you review them, you generally connect to the emotion, to the frequency. So sometimes it can take you backwards, not forwards. Whereas what we wanted to do yesterday was to clear the field, remove the negative emotions, but detach the event from the conscious awareness. So there is no memory of what happened. And that was that part of the healing process. We then, of course, talked about sovereignty checking. We know that this is very important. Everyone should have their own frequency, their own energy, and you should be standing tall in your own sovereign energy. So we made sure that we taught how to test your sovereignty. And this, of course, can be practiced and replayed as it needs to be. People need to check their sovereignty on a daily basis. And again, this should be part of your general routine. It only takes seconds. And of course, it gives you the understanding and the knowledge that your field is clear from interference and negative manipulation. So we talked about sovereignty checking. We went through the example of how to do that. Then we also worked through how to protect our chakra system. So we used the idea of a wetsuit that you climb into that basically protects your energetic centers. And then we moved into invisibility mode. So we put on that cloak of invisibility to protect and completely block your light. So the wetsuit concept is basically protecting your energetic centers. And then we use the invisibility cloak intention to block your light, because you're light beings. All of you broadcast light. Everyone on the planet broadcasts light. Even the darkest of people doing the most negative of things still have a portion of light that they broadcast. But people like yourselves that are working spiritually, clearing the shadow, working in a positive way, broadcast more light. And of course, that means you can be seen on the astral plane, on the astral frequency. So again, we use protective techniques and mechanisms to basically block our light so that we can't be seen. That means we can't be targeted. So these two techniques are very ideal and quite quick to use to actually progress our spiritual protection from that perspective. So that was the individual healing part of the meditation. Then we took a break, so people had time to relax. Some people needed to recover. Some people had been in tears and needed to clear themselves, get themselves a glass of water and just reground themselves. And that's why we put the break in. The break's not there necessarily because anyone needs a break. It's there to change the energy so people can stop, can reconsider what they've just experienced, can take a break for themselves before we actually then connect everyone. So the second part of that meditation yesterday was to basically bring everyone's unified field together. So if you remember, we turn everyone on energetically, we light everybody up. So those acupuncture points come online as spiritual warriors of light, and we can see you all over the planet. Any energies around looking on the astral would have seen lights, very bright lights lighting up all over the continent. And then once you were lit up and online energetically, we were connecting to your fields. So think of a spider's web above the top of the planet, really, with strands that come down and connect to each person. So each person is a radial point, really, that's energetically connecting to the planet through their own feet. From an energetic perspective, and from their crown chakra, they're connecting into this universal flow of energy. And of course, what we did is once we had all of that energy from everyone involved in the meditation collectively connected together, we then amplify that energy with our own frequencies. And then basically, we call it thumping the grid. We basically send light, high frequency vibration down through each person, straight down through their feet into their geographical location. And I call this thumping the grid because the Earth's energetic grid basically changes frequency immediately. That frequency rises, it clears stagnant energy and pushes lots of light and high frequency vibration through the most negative places. So think of a blockage in a pipe. The blockage sits there, you can pour more water in. If the pipe is blocked, it's blocked. But if you basically thump that pipe hard with high pressure water above, the blockage is pushed down, dissipates, and then of course all of that back pressure flows and clears the pipe. And this is the concept that we were actually applying. We were thumping the grid many times during the course of that meditation to unblock areas that had been purposely blocked. So there are many points on planet Earth that are particularly poignant vibratory areas. And of course, there are gatekeepers from the negative aspect that keep the energy closed in those places. So when we thump the grid, we force energy through those particular physical places. And that basically changes the frequency enormously. And the negative side has a long task ahead to basically try to reblock those areas with different methods that they will use. But for quite some time, the vibration will flow through those places. And we also asked everyone involved in that meditation to connect and think about places that were at war. We know that there are wars. There are always wars on planet Earth. Generally, it's what humans do. Not humans like yourselves, but the control system invents and keeps war flowing. So we think about places that are at war, and we send positivity and we raise the vibration. So again, lots of the entities that are in those spaces have to leave and have to move. So we cleared a huge amount of space energetically from that meditation yesterday. So that's what we saw from our perspective. We see the vibration come up. We see the energetics clear. We see the thump of the grid. So think of huge big earthquakes. They basically release energy in different ways. Two plates coming together. Those plates pushed together, they cause earthquakes, or they may cause volcanoes. But the earth does shift. So when we thump the grid energetically, we do the same. We send this massive pulse of energy all the way through the energetics of planet Earth, and it's felt everywhere. And certainly, of course, you must remember that you inhabit the planet as physical people, but there are many other entities in inside planet Earth and around planet Earth. And they all feel and watch what happens to the mother's energy. So when we do things like we did yesterday and we thump the grid, they sit there and they nod and they acknowledge what's just happened. This is the light energy changing the frequency. These are people that are working. We call you warriors of light, of course, because you are standing tall as an energy and you're allowing your energy to be used. So many other energies and entities around the planet watch what happens. And this is why we say, friends, that if you're involved in these sorts of meditations, this sort of work, your name is being written onto slate somewhere, because of course the Earth has a crystalline grid, crystals inside, and crystals vibrate at frequencies, and of course they have memory. So your energy is basically imbued into the grid. So long after your life finishes and you pass, there will be others that come after you, and you are very well remembered. Much like the headstone of a grave, the person is long gone, but you can look at the headstone and think that person was alive back in the 16 or 1700s. I wonder what they did. Well, the way that things work from our perspective is people can look at your name in the crystalline grid and they will see the vibratory frequency that you attained. So this is your frequency of vibration. And the work that you do is also recorded. So you're actually recording work from your own energy field into this crystalline structure that effectively is the planet's grid. So it's a miraculous thing that everyone's doing. And even though to you it may just seem like you're lying in a chair listening to myself talking and doing a meditation, there is a lot more happening behind the scenes. And this holds your name in lights. And we actually, of course, from our perspective, are in all of every one of you, because to step forward and to step up takes courage. And these are why, of course, we call you warriors, because this is what warriors do. They step forward when others step back. They hold the sword up when others turn and run. So you are warriors of light. This is why we talk about this in this way. And this is why we bow to each and every one of you. So just remember, when you're having your normal day, you're eating your food, you're watching television, that's your physical life. This is just the role play that you're achieving at this point in time. But what you actually are, of course, is a warrior of light. You hold a high frequency of vibration. You're here undercover. And your job basically is to raise the frequency of your vibration. And then wherever you live, wherever you walk, wherever your footsteps are, people stand in those footsteps. They come along behind you and their frequency rises because they stood in your steps. So just think about that for a moment, and that changes the concept of who you are and what you're doing. And also, of course, it changes the concept of the mundane life that you may think that you have. So just try to bear that in mind, because it's very important that you understand that you don't have to be a superhero, as Hollywood would explain or suggest you need to be. You need to hold your light, you need to hold your frequency. And at the end of that meditation yesterday, we talked about people speaking their truth. Speaking your truth, from my perspective, is one of the most important things you can do personally. When you lie to other people, you lie to yourself. You drop your vibration. If you say things that you don't believe or you don't feel, you're not speaking your truth, and therefore your vibration comes down. So learning to speak your truth to your friends and family, your loved ones, your wife, your husband, your partners, is very important. And again, this takes time. This takes commitment and this takes practice. But learning to be who you are, stand in your power, speak your truth, be that warrior of light. And with that, I will finalize this conversation and bring young Andrew back. So from my perspective, the work was incredibly successful. Probably more than we wished that more than we thought we would achieve in such a short period of time. And certainly from my perspective, the conversations we've had with young Andrew and Jane is that we want to do more of these group meditations where we thump this grid, but we also provide your own personal healing. And that is also very important. We could just do the grid work, but we want to help you personally. We want you to wake up feeling happy, feeling more positive. And this is why we try and combine the two meditations in the same evening. during the same time, because you're actually receiving something too. And of course, this is also the reason that we're very keen to make this a free event, because we realize that there are financial considerations that everyone has. And by charging to do these things, it does negate certain people that are going through hardship and difficulty. So young Andrew and Jane are very driven to help. And of course, they're driven also by our understanding or our encouragement. So we basically effectively explain to them what we want to happen. They then have to deliver that from a physical perspective. So effectively, think of ourselves as a project management team in spirit. We basically do the design. We then pass that down to the physical people who have to incorporate the physical aspects, the advertising, the websites, the conversations, and of course the actual work, because of course this is a collaboration of spirit and physical people. So the two things have to join together, and they have to do so sequentially and synonymously with the right vibration, with the right frequency and the right intention, because we know that intention is everything. So with that, I will say good day to you all. Thank you for joining. And for those of you that listen to this in catch up, please enjoy the meditations. Good day. Okay, so I'm back. So where are we? So hopefully Chen explained what we did yesterday, certainly from the twofold perspective. Obviously, we have the personal healing part of the meditation and then the world cleansing part, which was the second bit. So for any of you guys that haven't done that yet, we're going to make that available pretty soon, probably tomorrow now. Should be on Facebook on the Andy Poulter Psychic Surgeon page. And then we'll probably pop it over onto YouTube as well at some point too. But it'll probably be dropped on Facebook first. So if you want to do the meditations again, it'd be great for you to send us some feedback once you've done them, how you felt. Did you cry again? Were there lots of tears? Or was it kind of a happy, rejoicing type meditation? And certainly any of the grid exercise was really interesting, I thought. And I'll probably do that again myself, to be fair, actually. So again, if you do these things, just drop us a comment, drop us a comment on Facebook. There's a whole lot of Facebook posts and social media posts going out continually. So you can message on any of those and just say, yep, I've just done the meditation and this is what I felt, which is really good. Because that way, of course, it helps for other people to experience these things and understand as well. Okay, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for joining, and we'll catch you all again soon.